Yo, Lloyd Ruhl, aka MegaBlitzz. In today's video, we're going to be catching up on some PokeBeach news. I've been realizing that I've been doing this once a month. I catch up on PokeBeach news once a month, usually at the end of the month or beginning of the following month. So I did it at the end of the month in September and the end of the month in October. So I'm going to probably keep this trend going. It's a little better, I feel like, just doing it once a month as opposed to like twice a month with like two 15-minute videos. I'd rather just do like one 25 or 30-minute video, so then I can make more content about decks and top 5 best rogue decks and stuff like that. So we left off at this Terra Hydreigon EX. We're gonna skip through some of these just because they're usually like just different like kind of articles to read or things like that. Official Pokemon TCG YouTube miniseries announced featuring Terry Crews and other celebrities. It's basically them just learning how to play Pokemon for fun. It's pretty cool. I've watched like an episode or two. It's alright. Kira and Fiera getting second place at Baltimore with Lugia in the Sour Crown format. Pretty huge. Noctowl's Impact in the standard format is pretty good. TCG Pocket out in New Zealand. A lot of this stuff we kind of already know. Skeledirge from the Supercharged Breaker. We'll take a look at this here. Read that Skeledirge. Its ability, Unaware. Prevent all effects of attacks from your opponent's Pokemon done to this Pokemon, so that's pretty good. Its attack, Flare Recital for 60 plus. This attack does 20 more damage for each bench Pokemon of both yours and your opponent's. So, very similar to how like Palkia works and Raikou V, Entei V, Suicune V, those kind of Pokemon. Being able to do some pretty decent damage with this Skeletor. So we got a single prize attacker. Stage 2, unfortunate, so you can rare candy into it, but with nonetheless able to hit some pretty decent numbers. So going forward, we got Fluttermane and Iron Bundle, and in the new set, nothing too crazy going on with this. We got the Bewildering Transfer, move all damage counters from one of your bench Pokemon to one of your opponent's active Pokemon for its first attack. So not too bad. And then you got Moon Blast, 70 damage during your opponent's next turn. The defending Pokemon attacks do 30 less damage. I can see this maybe getting played like a one-of copy in like Roaring Moon EX, where you go, because it'd be pretty cool if you could go like Frenzy Gouging, eat 200, retreat, attach Sawdust to the Fluttermane, and then be able to go, okay, well, move all my damage counters from one of my bench ancient Pokemon to your opponent's active, so you just move 200, which is pretty cool. The problem is, though, is like 200 is just not quite enough. So maybe if you like move it up with Petra and it's at like 220, that might be enough, but that's a lot of kind of variance, I feel like, that you gotta have. But moving forward, we got the Jirachi V-Box. It's fine. We got the Jewel Seeker's Cursed Blast. Tropicos EXs are actually broken, which we all knew that. Petrarun and Eternatus from Supercharged Breaker. We got the Petrarun tier ability, Toxic Subjugation. As long as the Pokemon's in your active spot, put 5 more damage counters on your opponent's active Pokemon during Pokemon checkup. We already have this card, actually. It actually already got printed, and it's pretty busted. It's already being played online. I think it's this card anyway. Maybe I'm thinking of a different card. But regardless, it's going to be insane. I think this card is going to be fantastic. This Eternatus is mediocre. It's got an attack World's End for 230. Discard a Stadium play. If you can't, this attack does nothing. So you have to be able to discard a Stadium in play. But you're hitting for 230 with a single prize attacker. Maybe we see this in like Regidrogo, possibly. But I feel like there's just better alternatives out there. But Regidrogo does play a decent amount of stadiums with like Pokestop and things like that. So we'll have to see. Maybe the Eternatus makes its way in there. We have the Alolan Dugtrio from the Supercharged Breaker set as well. Dugtrio got an attack for free called Triple Bingo. 120 damage. If you don't have exactly 3 cards in your hand, this attack does nothing. It's a gimmick card. But, boy, does it look super cool. I think the card looks pretty awesome. I'm a pretty big fan of Dugtrio. I think Alolan Dugtrio is just goofy, and it makes me laugh. We have a Pokemon Stellar Maze, pretty cool, in New York City to celebrate some stuff. Charizard works, Dragapult fails. Palisand EX from Supercharged Breaker here. We got Palisand EX with its attack Sand Tomb for 3 colorless energy. 160 damage to defending Pokemon. Can't retreat during your opponent's next turn, so pretty decent. And then we got Barty Jail, I believe is how you pronounce it, for a Water Ice Psychic and a Fighting Energy. Put damage counters on each of your opponent's bench Pokemon until its remaining HP is 100. So a lot of different Pokemon have been coming out where it's like put X amount of HP on your opponent's Pokemon to this. But this one's different because it's each of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So that's pretty cool. But the problem is a lot of the bench Pokemon we have in the format, besides like Squawkabilly, Lumineon, and Ogerpon, stuff like that. Like Babarrel has 120. Radiant Greninja 130. Radiant Charizard like doesn't have that. Like you're not really doing much unless it's like a big basic deck like Miraidon, Raging Bull, Regidrogo, Lugia, kind of. Iron Thorns, it's pretty okay. Like Stall doesn't matter, right? Like so, it's just things like that. I don't think it'll matter too much. And then we have a special English Scarlet and Violet set releasing for the evolutions and different legendary Pokemon. So we're getting Pikachu EX and Snorlax EX, Lugia and Tyranitar, Kyogre, Blaziken, Dialga, Lucario, Reshiram, and Amoonguss, which I think is pretty interesting. All these ones up here kind of make sense. Like Lugia has been played with Tyranitar with the single strike stuff. Kyogre and Blaziken from at least from the same generation. Dialga and Lucario are both like steel types, but Reshiram and Amoonguss just like they're from the same like games, but Amoonguss is such an interesting Pokemon to pick. Xerneas and Noivern, Tapu Koko, Mimikyu, Zacian and Alcremie is a little interesting, and Koraidon and Polydane Clodsire. And then we have, Terrestrialize, whatever stuff for the evolutions. So that's pretty cool. Moving forward here, we're going to keep chugging along. Amulet of Hope A-Spec revealed. So this is going to be pretty interesting. If the Pokemon this card's attached to is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, you may search your deck with the 3 cards, put them in your hand, and shuffle your deck. So they have to get knocked out, which is not great, but I could see this maybe getting played in like a control deck. Like Stall might play this, maybe Pidgeot Control, something of that nature. Like Iron Thorns probably wouldn't play this, just because Prime Catcher's busted. And if you're not playing Prime Catcher, Legacy Energy is pretty good in Thorns. And if you're not playing Legacy Energy, Unfair Stamp's also still pretty good in Thorns. Because you're shutting off their Fezandipity, their Radiant Greninjas, and their Ogerpon. So Unfair Stamp's pretty good if you're going for more control-heavy Thorns deck. I've been playing a lot of Thorns lately. Played at the Louisville. Been playing in online tournaments. I've actually been thinking about making a free masterclass per se video about Iron Thorns and kind of the ins and the outs and stuff. Because it is a very simplistic and linear deck majority of the time. But there are some pretty cool things you can do with Iron Thorns. And I feel like I have enough knowledge to kind of pass on to that, because I do play quite a bit of Iron Thorns. We got Meowstic in a relaxing teaser. Interesting. From the surging Supercharged Breaker. The Meowstic has an ability, Tempting Tail. You must discard Relaxing Teaser from your hand or use this ability. Once during your turn, you may switch in your opponent's bench Pokemon to the active spot. So it works like Boss, but you have to be able to discard this item. And the item, basically, if you're going to be discarding it with the Meowstic, you're not going to be playing it. But if you do decide to play it, put an energy attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon into their hand. So, not too bad. You can only use this card if you go second and only on your first turn. So, kind of mid. So, you got to be able to evolve into the Meowstic and then be able to use it. If not, it's just discard fodder. So, kind of like Battle VIP Pass in a way, I guess. 5th Anniversary, top class card set with exclusive Pikachu promo, TCG stuff. We got the illustration rares for the Latios EX. Latios EX and Latios. I think these look absolutely incredible. I'm a huge fan just of the cards in general. I think they look fantastic. And my ad blocker just seems to like not be wanting to block any of these ads, which is whatever. But chugging along. We got the Skovalian EX and the Lake Guardians, Clement. The Rapska, nothing crazy here. Wo-Chen, Green Hazard, 20 damage. If you have 3 or 4 cards in your deck, this attack does 120 damage to your bench Pokemon. Not terrible. Got the Skovalian EX, got a Fire type one though, but it's got the double type, so it's a Grass and a Fire type. So it does have Trigger for weakness. Spicy Rage, 10 plus. This attack does 70 damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. Usually these Pokemon I've noticed just don't tend to do good. If it's like, oh, it does X amount for damage counters on it. I cannot remember the last time that a card in the competitive meta has done well where its attacks are like, this does more damage if it has damage counters on it. The last time I feel like it was good was Reshiram and Charizard Tag Team, and that was probably the last time I can remember it being actually relevant. And even then, Reshiram and Charizard EX had a second attack that they could use, as opposed to the first attack where it calculated the damage counter. So, I don't know. Take a look at this Feebas. I love it. I love it. I think Feebas is a cool Pokemon, and I just love underwater art. You get the rainbows coming through. I think it looks fantastic. We got the Milotic EX once again. Beautiful. Absolutely love the art there. We'll take a look. It's got that sparkling scales ability to prevent all damage and effects done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Terra Pokemon. Hypno Splash for a water double colorless. 160 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon is now asleep. I can see this being like a wall stall type strategy. Preventing all damage and effects done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Terra Pokemon's attacks. So Charizard kind of stuff, things like that have a hard time. Everybody knows what Pikachu does, but we'll read it anyway. It's got a lot of cool arts. It's got that art going on. It's got the full art and the normal art. I just want one of them, to be honest. But it's got an ability, Tenacious Heart. Its Pokemon's at full HP and would be knocked out by damage from an attack. It isn't knocked out and it has 10 HP instead. For a Grass, a Lightning, and a Metal, 300 damage, discard 3 energy from this Pokemon. You are going to be able to hit some huge numbers with Pikachu EX, and I feel like people are going to try to break it. Got a beautiful Mesprit. I don't think any of these cards are actually going to get played, so we're just going to skip through those. Clement's Quick Thinking, heals 6 damage from each of your Lightning Pokemon. Meh, it's okay. Switch. We got Scramble Switch, however. Switch your active Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon, and then you may move as many energy attached to that old active Pokemon to the new active Pokemon as you'd like. So, pretty cool. I feel like going into kind of like a format where we're moving a lot of energy and stuff around, I think is pretty cool. Got some pack blisters, all 9 of the 2024 connected arts drawn, which I will say did look pretty cool. It's kind of just like a big picture, and I thought it was pretty nice. It kind of captures each kind of like turns into one big art piece, which I think is really cool. And so I love seeing that. I love seeing that. It was pretty cool. We got Special Evolutions coming out, but I think this is the same thing we had already looked at. Actually, it's a video. Then we got the Volvillion. Once again, I think these arts look fantastic. I love that art. It's got an ability Evolution Powder for each of your benched Pokemon. Search your deck for a card that evolves from that Pokemon and put it on the Pokemon to evolve it. Pretty cool. You're going to be able to do like weird status condition stuff possibly with that card. We got Miraidon Koraidon from the Surge Breaker set. Nothing too intense. And speaking of intense assault from this Koraidon 30+. If you have one other ancient Pokemon use an attack during the last turn, this set does 150 more damage. So it's okay, hitting for like 180. Miraidon, protection code 40 damage during your opponent's next turn. Prevent all damage done to your future Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon EX. If this Pokemon leaves the active spot, the effect stops working. So maybe we see something kind of like this, like a one-of copy and different things to try to like kind of like just cheek out a win against big EX decks. We'll have to see. Got the Armor Rouge in the Ruhl Edge. Nothing too crazy going on with these cards. You know, discard all. You know, Fire Ranger from this Pokemon does 180 damage. Got the Charcadet evolving into the Armor Rouge or the Ruhl Edge. And just discarding all special energy from each of your opponent's Pokemon. Pretty good against Lugia, but other than that, kind of mid. But the art looks sick. I like Armor Rouge more personally, but Ruhl Edge is finally getting some love because Armor Rouge has gotten tons of it in the past previous sets with the Fire Off Armor Rouge. So glad to see that we're getting some different ones here. We got the Chien-Pao Basic. I think we already take a look at these. We got the Hydreigon EX. Nothing too crazy with that. We had looked at that in a previous one. Got a Slacking and a Magneton coming out. I've already talked about a lot of these cards. So we're actually going to kind of skip through that one because we've talked about all of those. Going into the next page here, we got Understanding Raging Bolt EX, most popular deck in the format. This is after it wins. The Walrein line. Gee whiz. Nothing too crazy. Just this field being the cutest thing in the world. And we got Legendary Warriors, which is like Zacian and all those. 106 main set cards finally revealed for the Supercharged Breaker. And like I said, we've looked at a lot of these, but the Phanpy super cute. I absolutely love the art. The Kecleon looks awesome. That also looks pretty cool. I like his hat and his clothes. And I believe her name is, I don't even remember her name. I also don't know the dude's name. All right, Cronio, and that's Jasmine. That's right. But we have all these cards. We got the Durant EX. We'll have to see if maybe we scroll down. We got some English versions down here. Maybe some card translations possibly. We're going to have to see when we get to the bottom. Perfect. We have some card translations. Durant EX, Sudden Scrape on this Pokemon. When you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench during your turn, you may use this ability to discard the top card of your opponent's deck. 120 damage. This attack does 30 damage for each prize card your opponent has taken. kind of not good, to be honest. We already looked at the volume. We've already looked at a lot of these. We're just going to kind of go through. I'm going to go through really quickly and just kind of go over the ones that we haven't talked about, either in this video or the previous ones. So if you haven't checked out the other PokeBeach news recap from the month before, definitely do that. I will say also, a lot of these are just kind of like simple Pokemon for different things. But I will say, a lot of the news in PokeBeach, I feel like it can be covered in one video for one a month, as opposed to doing 2 a month, which I was doing, where you're talking about Palisand, and I just feel like it's kind of better to just do one. We had talked about all those. We talked about that. We talked about how Dragon. We've talked about the new Petrarunt. We've talked about Tetsugiri before as well. We talked about Slacking. I think Slacking EX is going to be absolutely just busted. I think it's a great card. We've talked about all these. We got the Miracle Intercom. Put 2 supporters from your discard pile into your hand. This card's not good. Don't play that card. It's really bad. We got the berries. I think all these berries are okay. We got the Fluorite. I also remember this being really bad. Yeah, discard all energy from this Pokemon if you do heal all damage from each of your Terra Pokemon. Not super great. Janine's Gaze during your opponent's next turn. Each of your Pokemon take 30 less damage from attacks. Not great also. I remember the Stadium being like kind of mid. Basic Pokemon get plus 30. Maximum HP of all Stage 2 Pokemon in play is reduced by 30. So kind of cool. Got some of that going on. Being able to kind of hit some Charizards and stuff for maybe some big damage. Got the Raspa EX. However, I don't know if we'll have a translation for it. We do. Perfect. We got the Upside Down. Draw 3 cards from the bottom of your deck. Pretty cool. Different kind of attack drawing from the bottom. We don't really see that very often. We got Psychic for a Grass Double Colorless. Psychic 20 plus. This attack does 90 damage for each energy card attached to your opponent's active Pokemon. So, can do some pretty big damage into things like Charizard. We have the TM Machine. So check for the 3 Pokemon Tool cards with Technical Machine in their name. Reveal them, put them in your hand. So you're going to be able to find things like Evo, Devo, Turbo Energize, Fluorite if you play that, and things like that. International Searching Sparks were revealed. We had, like I said, we already looked at all these, I'm pretty sure. Yes. Full Art Power Sand. We had looked at that. Special Art. Crushing the competition with Iron Thorns EX. Iron Thorns EX is absolutely insane right now in the meta. It's got a great win rate. I think the Jasmine Gaze is pretty cool. I love how just got like food and stuff in the background. I think it's pretty cute. Pretty cute card. Going forward to the last page. However, a lot of this we've already kind of looked at, which is kind of interesting. Like I said, but a lot of that is kind of they recap it or they repost it because they got new information about something or what have yous. Secret rares and pull rates. I don't care about pull rates, but I do care about the secret rares. So let's take a look at some of these. We have already seen that one. I didn't mean to full screen that. We have the Larvesta. It's Ruhl Edge, Feebas. Take a look at that. Take a look at this field. I love this Magneton. I love all the backgrounds with the electrical fields and stuff. And it looks really, really cool. I got the Stunfisk. I saw this card and there was a meme going around about it on Twitter. And I absolutely adore it. I think it's the best thing. Its face is derpy. It's stuck in real mud. It's just, I love it. I want to pull that card more than anything. Got a Fanfi, got the Dugtrio, got the Slackoth. Pretty cute, just hanging out, relaxing. Kecleon, I love that. Durant, Scavalli, these are all the full arts. Let's keep going past the full arts. Ooh, look at that. That's pretty cool. I like that. All the Durants marching. These are all the illustration rares. I love the High Dragon. I love Clement working on just different electrical stuff and just different kind of components and stuff. I think that's really cool. Got the Pikachu Gold Night Stretcher, which is pretty huge. I actually love this. I love having like the Shroodle on the bench. I love Shroodle. I think Shroodle is just a cute Pokemon. But beautiful art there. Kind of stacking those. Actually, it literally turns into one big picture, which I think is pretty cool. So now I got to get both of those. So we're going to have to make that happen. And the Durants also connect. I love that. I love when Pokemon does that. I think it's awesome. The pull rates. But if you care about those, then you can translate it. I don't pay attention to pull rates. I just buy the cards I want. And sometimes I open some pretty cool stuff. Goodness gracious, these ads, get the heck out of here. I don't want it. Go away. Jeez. That's ridiculous. I'm going to have to figure out what the heck's going on with PokeBeach next time I open this, because this is unreal. EX Starter Deck of Generations revealing all the different things. These are all like starter decks, I'm guessing, which is kind of interesting. So they're probably not going to be that good, actually, now that I think about it. They're probably going to be pretty mid. We'll see if we get some translations, though. Maybe we get some translations to them. Okay, we do. Pikachu, 180, 30 to itself, not great. Snorlax, 120, flip 3 coins, pretty bad. Lugia, Hyper Whirlpool, flip a coin, discard energy, pretty bad. Tyranitar, 150, reveal their hand, discard card, not bad. But it's at stage 2, so it's kind of bad, actually. I didn't realize it's stage 2. That's awful. Kyogre, 230, discard 2 energy, not great. Blaziken, 200, during next turn can't attack, not great. All these are pretty bad, actually. My goodness. I'll look at the Amoonguss. Mushroom Swing. Okay, yeah, so these are just like the starter decks to like get people into the game. So they're not going to be competitive viable probably, which is fine. Not a big deal on that. I'm going to keep going through here, keep chugging along. We got the Meowths and the Whoopers. We got some cards to look at. I love the Meowth art in this. I think it's beautiful. And we got the Paldean Whooper. And I believe these are GameStop promos, I think. No, they're just promos for starter deck generations, which is interesting. Costco exclusive stuff from Costco. If you go there, I don't have a Costco near me, so I do not go to Costco. Palkia Dusknoir thing for a article there. 2024 illustration contest promos to release in March. We had seen that this Pikachu had one, and the Feraligatr there had one, and the Toxtricity. So, if you are interested in collecting those, then you'll be able to. You'll be able to apply a code and use it to a $30 purchase to be able to get them a little bit cheaper, but you'll be able to get each one of those, which is pretty cool. Heatwave Arena and the Glory of Team Rocket releasing in March and April. I don't really know what this is. I think this is just a release of a set, possibly. Yes. Yeah, I think it's just basically getting like reprinted, which is kind of cool. Blooming Waters Premium 151 is coming out and it's getting crazy again, which 151 is going to continue to do so. Diving deep and analyzing some old complex board state stuff and things like that, which is pretty cool. I actually did read this one and actually is pretty nice. Some Shreka promo from Korokoro Ichiban, which is pretty cool from a magazine. And then we had this as well. I did watch this video. It actually is pretty cool. I don't want Pampers. But anyway, basically what it was just talking about how Creatures warns that Pokemon TCG players have to behave respectively online, when they were posting derogatory comments and stuff, and how that things like this won't be basically like okay, which I thought was pretty cool. It was kind of just like talking about how you need to behave respectively online and you need to be able to like just be a decent human being, basically. So that is going to do it all for today's video. I'm going to try to get this fixed next time I do PokeBeach, kind of recap. Tired of all these ads and all of them popping up. I'm not too sure why it's doing it. I don't know if my ad blocker or something's not going the way it's supposed to. Not too sure, but I'll get it fixed out and hopefully figured out in the next video for the PokeBeach recap. But if you guys enjoy the content I'm making for the channel, don't forget to leave a like, smash the subscribe button. I would appreciate it. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!